Are you looking to improve your garden so you can produce more food for you and your loved ones this year? But I think taking note of your garden and reflecting on it is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And it has certainly helped me throughout the years, and I know it's helped a lot of you as well. So in today's video, I'm going to take you through my process, and maybe there are things that you want to pull from it or improve upon it yourself, but that way you can sort of see what it looks like to think about your garden and then formulate a plan so that you can get to where you want to be with your edible landscape. So grab your favorite hot beverage of choice and let's go through this together. Welcome to True Freedom Permaculture, where we discuss natural living and how to have a green thumb even if you weren't born with one. So first, let's talk about this year in review, because each year is going to be different. This year, we had a lot of rain. It was a very wet year. It was also kind of a strange year. We had some air pollution, which unfortunately is not, outside of the norm, but we had a lot of it due to some wildfires in Canada up north. So they were blowing a lot of ash into the air in the first half of the year. And there were several days where they even recommended that you not go outside because the air quality was so poor. And that was strange. And the skies looked really dystopian. They were like orangey brown and very hazy, and you can kind of see the ash flying everywhere sometimes. So that was something odd. I have to say the amount of water that we got kind of worked in my favor, because also this year, if you've seen some of my other videos, you knew that I was planning for this. We had the birth of our first child, and so I knew that I wouldn't be able to devote as much time to being in the garden as I normally would. So not having to go out there and water as much definitely worked in my favor. And this year really put things in perspective and reinforced a belief that I already knew, but I actually got to witness it, which is that permaculture landscapes are extremely forgiving, because busy seasons come along, life events happen, and it will be there for you in the end. It might not be exactly the same, but it will still produce, and you'll even have some surprises. So I definitely saw how steady and how much my perennials produce. And so that's something that I want to continue with, take care of the ones that I have, and also introduce some more. Now, my question for you is, have any of you done this kind of reflection already in your garden? Because if so, I think a lot of us would like to hear it, so please drop it in the comments below. Now let's move on to some areas of improvement that I think my garden could use. One is that, like I said, luckily there was a lot of rain this year, but I can't count on that every year. And what I missed was, I normally put out like a rain catchment system. So I have rain barrels set up. I didn't do that this year, and I really missed having those around. So I definitely want to reinstate that in the spring. I also would like to create a watering system that's either semi-automated or fully automated. We are trying to do that via, having some swale set up to collect natural water runoff and divert it towards the garden automatically, which is truly the most automatic way of doing that. But also we might install some irrigation systems. I'm not sure quite what that would look like, but I just expect not to be able to have as much time to do watering as I have in previous years for the near future. So that's something that I really want to set up. So things that went well, I would say, we still got the goji berries, we got raspberries, we got blackberries, the herbs that have already been set up. We even got some unexpected surprises, like some volunteer kale, and those provided us with some greens to get us through the cooler months. And that was just a nice surprise to see it, that it self-seeded and just started popping up. There were also some firsts. So one of two things. One was that we grew purple potatoes, and those are fun because you don't normally see those in the store. So it's something that I really do like growing, and it's fun to grow your own potatoes and make some cool hash browns or whatever, throw them into soups. And also we have this prolific and gorgeous rose bush outside, and every year we just kind of admire the flowers, but I actually used them this year in a rose petal jelly. So that was cool and something different. So if you saw my video on setting a goal for this year, you know that my goal was to grow 5 medicinal herbs. And I did implement them somewhere in my landscape. Now, not all of them were totally successful this year, and the first reason is that I did not account for how much sunlight some of them would need I mean, I knew that they needed full sun, but like I didn't account, for example, how tall my Jerusalem artichokes would get, and they really crowded out some of the afternoon sun, and they shaded out the chamomile, for example. So I have this beautiful, fragrant, delicate chamomile foliage, but I did not get any blooms this year. So hopefully it'll survive until next year, and then I'll be able to collect some of the blooms off of that. Same thing with the echinacea too. The raspberries kind of shaded out some of the echinacea, and I'm hoping to get some blooms for flu and cold season for next year. Now, what did work was that we have lemon balm, and I like having that in my zone 1 garden area because if I just feel like a cup of tea, it's something that doesn't have any caffeine. It's a really nice thing to add to herbal tea blends. It gives it a nice citrusy kick. And so I do like having that at hand. I also have the bee balm too, and the bee balm gives off these like spicy kind of like oregano, minty tasting leaves, and those are nice to add to teas too, and they're great for the pollinators. So that was nice to have in further out in my garden. And the other thing that I knew I liked, but I had accidentally let die, was my sage plant. So I'm really glad to have that once again. I do keep that somewhere close. You know, right now we're enjoying it in Cajun red beans and rice. Soups, stews. We like making brown butter with sage too. So that is something that we use quite a bit during the fall and winter seasons. So has this gotten any of your creative juices flowing as far as thinking about what you want to do with your garden and thinking about your own observations for the prior year? Because if so, then you can formulate a plan. That's the next step to get you to where you want to be ultimately. And I really want to thank all of you so much for contributing your comments, your insight, your suggestions with videos. Sorry, you might hear my son in the background there. But all of this has helped to create something really valuable. So if you haven't checked out the comments, please do. And I just want to really appreciate you for a tremendous year, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon.